What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode, I guess, of Smash Times Lead Therapy. Let's see who we have in the chat real quick. Jeff Coleman, my man. Good to see you. Brett J. Brett J, how you doing, man? I hope everything's good with you up there. All right, let's get some people in here. We started a little bit early. Close all these windows out. All right. Hope everyone's having a really good time tonight. Shooting gallery. Nice. Jesus. Good. Awesome to have you guys in here. All right, so let me tell you, I ran across this guy's YouTube channel about 3 weeks ago, and he was doing like a panel session, and it was on like a Red Dawn scenario. And I caught the first 2 minutes of it, and I've never watched a live stream since I was so busy. I've never watched one from nuts to bolts in like maybe 8 or 9 months. I could not stop watching this one because it was really interesting. So without further ado, let's bring him on. Brent0331. What is 0331?
Hey, what's up, brother? So 0331 is the MOS or military occupational specialty for machine gunner. So when I entered the Marine Corps, enlisted way back when, that was my original MOS as a machine gunner. Now, as you spend more time in the Marine Corps and you get promoted and stuff, you end up picking up different MOSs. So I'm no longer consider. Excuse me. I just ate two.
I know. I had some interesting spaghetti tonight.
Yeah.
It was delicious. If anybody's watching, it was absolutely amazing.
So, anyways, what I was saying is I'm a no longer no 331, but obviously at the time I made my YouTube channel, I was. So that's the origins of that.
Nice. So you've been doing YouTube for 8-9 years, right? Seems like longer than that.
It's been longer than that. A lot of my older videos I think are unlisted, but if you go way back when it's back, it's back there, man. I don't know exactly when, but I never started the YouTube deal as like, hey, I'm going to start a channel for people to watch. It was more or less my friends and stuff coming over to shoot, and I would film it and then like post the videos so that those guys could watch themselves shoot and stuff. So that's kind of how it got started way back when. When I started doing the camouflage stuff, that's really what like initially started my channel. As far as like people actually tuning in and watching, man, that's maybe been 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, you know it's funny because my brother, sir, he was in Iraq a few times, and he was in the army. Actually, I had 101st and a Rakistan flag somewhere. I couldn't find him. I was going to put those up too. But you know, he's in Georgia, and you know, I never served. I never went in the military. I grew up, you know, in LA, and I got a job out of high school making pretty good money. And so I was like, well, what do I want to do? Go get yelled at for a couple of years, or just stay here making pretty good money? So plus, I was really into my friends at the time, and my priorities weren't set, so I stayed out. And I see your channel, but I was hooked on watching all that, like the early YouTube videos of Afghanistan, Iraq, like the Fallujah stuff. I mean, I love watching that stuff. It's a kick, and you know, sometimes a guy will get hit and he doesn't even know it. He's still in the fight, and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm hit." It's like it's crazy. So as a civilian, I'm totally hooked on it, and I wanted to ask you a lot about your the One Shepherd deal that you're involved with.
Okay, yeah, very good.
What is that? Is that just like train? Do you have to have prior military to do something like that?
No, not at all. Not at all. And how many years ago was that I got involved with that? I'm just throwing this number out there. I can't recall off the top of my head exactly how long ago it was, but maybe like 5 years ago, I got a message from one of the cadre there that said, "Hey man, would you be interested in coming up for, you know, a semester? and taking part, free of cost. It'll be our pleasure. We'll host you to go through this training. We watched your videos. We really think it'd be something you'd be interested in. And the funny thing is, I had actually seen some videos that they had put up. Back then, they only had a couple videos uploaded, and it was like them doing some fire team rushing and stuff like that. And I saw that, and I was like, man, that looks like a very interesting program. I would love to do some training like that with those guys. But the thing was, it was up in Missouri. I'm here in Texas, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not going up there.
Oh, what part of Texas?
North Texas. About 40 minutes north of Dallas.
Oh, so you're in the nice part of Texas.
Yeah.
I always get in trouble for calling everything Dallas. Everything up there to me is Dallas. Fort Worth, Dallas. It's all Dallas. It's just Dallas. I mean,
when I tell people where I'm from, it's obvious you use that as a reference because everybody in the country knows where Dallas is. So
right. Like I grew up right outside of Compton, California, in Carson, like the next block. Like literally, you could throw a baseball and you're right there.
So funny you mentioned that, and you might even know where this place is. There's a country bar called Cowboy Country in Compton, and I met my wife there.
Get out of town.
Yeah, I met my wife there, man. I just got back from, and this was early 2005. My buddy and I we just got back from Iraq 2-3 months before this.
What the heck were you doing in Compton?
Well, we went to a country bar on Friday night, and Southern California, man, there's not very many country bars there, right?
Like
so we went to one, and which was called In Cahoots, and that one would like every night would be a different theme. So like one night would be country, the next night would be like salsa, the next night would be rap, you know what I mean? So we went on country night, which was like Friday night, and one thing we learned is like all the people that go to these country bars are kind of like groupies, man. It's a certain type of person that lives in Southern California and goes to a country bar. So anyways, we were talking to these girls and they're like, oh, are you guys going to Cowboy Country tomorrow night? Because obviously In Cahoots wasn't going to be a country bar the next night.
No.
So we were like, yeah, we'll go. We'll check it out. So anyways, we go back, my buddy and I go back to where we were staying for the night, and we were shit-faced, and woke up the next morning. I vaguely remember, I was like, I remember this girl telling me about this place called Cowboy Country, and we Googled it, and it said Compton, and I was like, no effing way. No effing way. There's a freaking country bar in Compton. And sure enough, we looked it up, we went to the website, and they have live bands. It looked like a really awesome place, so we went there. It's like right on the border of Compton, I guess. Phenomenal bar, live country bands, and I met my wife there. Unbelievable.
What year was that?
2005.
2005, yeah. I knew a girl that used to go around and sing. Her name was Courtney Morrison. She used to go sing at all these country bars. And this is, it's back when I was in LA. So I was like, country sucks, And then I know she was really big into it. She would sing at that place. I think she would go out to like Hammett, and she would travel all over and sing. She had a really good voice. A little crazy. Right? It's a great voice.
Yeah, the funny thing was my buddy went, and he's wearing a black shirt with a black cowboy hat, and I had a white shirt with a white cowboy hat. So we were doing like the good and the bad thing. But I had a Texas driver's license, so I could play the whole cowboy card, even though I don't know shit about being a cowboy.
Right.
I could play that card because I'm in California. How many actual Texans are there in California? So I use that edge.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's crazy. I haven't thought about that area in a while. I tell people I'm a refugee from California, and I got anchor babies here now. They can't deport me back. I'm good. I hate going back to visit. I will not go. I'll go to Vegas. It's as far as I'll go.
I will admit something to you, man. I was born in California too. So, I know. But here's the thing. This is what I tell people. Most, if not, I can't say all, but most people that died in the Alamo fighting for that motherfucker they're not born in Texas.
That is true.
Hey,
everyone in the chat real quick. Thank you so much. I see we got Andrew Conrad. Man, so here I'm going to put Brent's channel in here. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe because your channel's doing gangbusters now. And the panel with like Bruce and Doc and all those guys, it's such a great dynamic of personalities. And then when you went like for the like when I first, I don't know how I got recommended your live, but when you gave that synopsis of like what happened and then the Red Dawn, I mean, you took it a couple of years down the road, and I was like, wow, he put a lot of thought into that. That's just not make believe stuff.
I mean, I wanted to make it as believable as I could. Obviously, the U.S. homeland getting invaded by a foreign entity isn't, that likely. But
I was kind of upset Texas got wiped out so quick, though. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, so that's the thing, yeah. And I'm
playing on the West Coast, okay, but Texas.
I'm playing on the whole. All these people from California moving to Texas and corrupting the damn place.
Yeah, well, have you been to Austin lately?
Dude, so funny thing you asked that. I just actually drove past it last week. I went down to Corpus for a class. So I was down there the whole week, and I drove past it. So I know all about it. I've heard all about it. So, and I want to preface something. When I moved to Texas, I was a child. So I went through school in Texas. I enlisted in the Marine Corps in Texas. And I played high school football in Texas. So that makes me, in my opinion, a natural Texan.
Hey, I tell people I'm a born-again Texan. I've only been here about 12 years now, 12 years.
Yeah.
But so Tim Kennedy was having an event at the range at Austin, which is a very nice gun range in Austin. So I grabbed two buddies and we drove out for the day. And as soon as we got in the city limits, there were tents everywhere, all the homeless people. And it was, oh, man, that city used to be so nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sickening. It's really sickening.
So let's go back to One Shepherd real quick. For everyone in the chat that doesn't know, One Shepherd is kind of like a miniature 4 or 5 day boot camp where people just kind of hang out. Strategy camp.
Yes and no. So let me say that it's a leadership school. It's actually a registered nonprofit school. With the federal government. It is a leadership school in the sense that if you go through the program, I'm not just saying you just go up there for a semester. If you go through the program is designed to instill leadership in you, and you learn leadership through the way the military teaches it. So you start off being, when you go through your first semester, you're just, Joe Blow rifleman, right? What's that?
Like me, I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah. You come there, you might not know shit, and then you're a rifleman. You serve in a fire team, which is part of a squad, and then that's your first semester, right? And then later on, your subsequent semesters, you start getting leadership positions. Like 2 or 3 semesters down the road, you might be a fire team leader. Now you're in charge of 3 other guys, 3 other students that you're responsible for. All right. So that might be your second or third semester. Your 4th or 5th semester, you might be a squad leader. Now you got 3 fire teams under you. So you can see this like leadership progression. Like as you go through the program, you're no longer just responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your fire team. And so that's how you kind of learn leadership through the program. It teaches you leadership utilizing the military method. And it's not with the whole, screaming in your face. They have a saying at One Shepherd. It's, all the cool shit, none of the bullshit. You're not sitting on a parade deck grinder for 4 hours, waiting on the armory to open up or something along those lines. You're not doing that. But it's an excellent program. You go there, you go through, it's your first time, you go through the Warriors Basics course, and they kind of already expect you to know how to operate like an AR-15. It's not a tactical course in the sense of like, hey, we're going to teach you ins and outs of the rifle and how to use it and everything else. Yeah, they're going to give you a little, 30-minute spiel on the AR-15 and how it operates, but it's not this big, long, in-depth class. It's like, hey, this is your AR-15, or this is the AR-15. No, it's chambered to 5.56 millimeter.
Right.
Go through like reloading procedures and safe, weapons conditions and stuff like that. And they go through bare bones. And then then you're going to go into, fire teams, positions in the fire team rushing, reacting to enemy contact, patrolling, hand and arm signals, stuff like that. Radios, the radios that they use at One Shepherd, which are, older model military radios.
Yeah. So how long were you in the Marines?
I'm still currently in. So
are you doing like reserves or?
Mm-hmm. So 20 years.
Dang. So you're going to retire soon, or what's going on?
Well, I mean, I'm at 20 years. I mean, I could still stay in for another 10. So, I'll probably stay in for a while.
Nice. And how many tours did you do in Afghanistan?
I did 3 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I did two in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. I was in the initial invasion of Iraq in 2003. We came back after that deployment. After
that was Desert Storm, right?
No. I'm talking about the initial push in 2003.
Which one was that?
George Bush saying, Saddam, your sons, you got.
Yeah, wasn't that Desert Storm?
No, man, Desert Storm was in 91.
2003. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's that one.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you think about 9/11, 2001, 9/11.
Right.
We ended up going into Afghanistan, and then, that was when I think we went into Afghanistan in 2002. And then a year or so later, it was President Bush at the time was saying to Saddam, like, hey, you got weapons of mass destruction, motherfucker. We're coming in.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The yellow cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the yellow cake. Dave Chappelle did a great skit on that.
I've seen that one.
He got yellow cake.
Yeah.
So what did you? Well, I don't have to ask you what you thought about the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, is that a sore spot with you? Because, I have a lot of friends I went to school with that went and served in the military, and a lot of them, I had a couple of pass away over there. And for them just to kind of screw that all up so quickly on the way out, I'm not even military, and it pissed me off. I was like, that didn't look like it was done that well.
Man, yeah, it's an extreme sore spot, whether you are on, of the persuasion that, we should have got out of there, which, many people are, but here's the thing, like, do it the right way. Okay. I'll tell you what wrong looks like. Wrong is, hey, we spent billions of dollars, training and equipping these guys to, take care of themselves. And then cold turkey, we just pull out. We don't provide them any air support. And we just say, throw them to the wind and say, hey, you got all this high-tech, sophisticated equipment that we've used U.S. contractors to keep, maintained and ready for you guys. And then we're just going to pull everybody out, including our contractors, and you guys figure it out. Go do your thing. And by the way, there's no more air support from us.
Yeah.
So, literally the Taliban were on the main roads, in long convoys driving from one city to another. One B-52 could have fucking leveled all those motherfuckers. How hard of that? And this is how I got into the live stream. I've never been a live streaming guy. I know that, that's why you see, if you look at the live streams, I number them. There hasn't been very many of them.
Like a number, I think 9, right? 9 or 10?
It's like 14 or 15.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
But I started that because of Afghanistan. I was so worked up over it. And I'm by no means am I the only veteran that's, feels betrayed about all that. But I called up John, who's a frequent guest on the panel on my live streams that I have. And we talked for like an hour. And then after about an hour, I was like, dude, you know what? I was like, what do you think about just live streaming this conversation, man? Because it's like, I know we're not the only ones feeling this way. I know there's other people out there.
Yeah.
And that's how it all got started.
I know a lot of people like me that no service, no military service. But even I was like, look, they're lined up. Just, there you go. Just, they're all lined up. They're going. Just kill them. Just,
yeah.
See you later. Smell you later.
Right. AC-130's gun shit.
the news the next day was like, oh, well, there's no equipment there. Everything's decommissioned. And then the day after that, they're doing a parade in Humvees and MRADs and all that stuff. It's like
Black Hawk helicopters and
that they can't fly, that they fly away with someone hanging off of it.
Right.
I mean, God.
It's, I mean, people just don't, they look at that and it's like, oh, Afghanistan's on the other side of the world. What does that mean to us? Well, guess what? Our number one geopolitical enemy is China. And I am of the belief that we are eventually going to be at war with China. I hate to say that. I don't want to see that, but I believe that's going to happen. And the Marine Corps and the U.S. military believes it's going to happen. How do I know that? Because I'm a part of the Marine Corps. We're restructuring the whole entire Marine Corps to address the Chinese threat.
Well, you know what I heard, and this is just a rumor around the campfire, that all these COVID testings, they take your DNA. The main company doing all these COVID tests is based in China. So China's collecting all this DNA, and the next bioweapon they can produce, they can sequence it just to attack certain strains of DNA. And since they have all the Americans, they can better tailor it to attack us. Now, I don't know how true that is, but it was on TV. The TV doesn't lie to me. The internet doesn't lie too much. So let's check the chat real quick. We got Merlin Norris. Thank you for your service. C6 says 1/2 tank of fuel for each aircraft to get them out. Yeah. Even Chris is agreeing. Slap in the face. Jason, Operation Iraqi Freedom 03. And Flying Rich, he's actual pilot. He's not a good pilot. He's crashed a few times. Says the A-10 would have done it. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah,
I would love to see one of those things in action up close. Well, not too close.
Yeah, one of the points I was talking about, like with China being the number one geopolitical threat, like Afghanistan's in China's backyard. It gave us a base of operations to conduct whatever the fuck. If a war with China kicks off, it's likely to be over the South China Sea and Taiwan and whatnot in the Pacific. But here we had an opportunity to have something on their back door, right? That they got to concentrate. They can't focus specifically on one little area. They got to think about, hey, the U.S. has all these assets, and this part of our country as well. Like, we have to be cognizant of that as well. I just can't put two and two together on why this individual that's running the show made these terrible decisions.
I mean, honestly, man, I don't think we should be over there, but at least give these guys a chance. You'd make it like a 1.5 year, 2-year withdrawal, and man, that would have been cool if they had just lined them up and just took them all out in one shot.
Yeah. Well, so like I'll use Iraq as an example, right? We there was a lot of problems in Iraq, obviously. Nothing was hunky dory, but in my opinion, we did it right in the sense of, hey, when we took the bulk of U.S. troops and forces out of there, and ISIS started taking over large portions of Iraq, what did we do? Well, we came in and bombed the fuck out of them, right? We supported the Iraqi army to fight for themselves. And then we literally provided them intensive air support. And look what happened. The Iraqi army defeated ISIS and retook their country. And they're still their own, rebuilt democracy today. Why couldn't we have done that and continued to do that in Afghanistan until they get to the point where they stand on their own feet and can fend for themselves, right? We didn't do that. That did not happen. Biden just cut off everything, cut off all air support, did not support those guys, and the whole thing.
Let me ask you another question, because I'm sure you've heard this a million times. Me on the civilian side, everyone's like, well, why didn't they just throw grenades in all these MRADs and blow them up before they left? I mean, why can't they just destroy all this equipment? Well, you think they were told not to destroy it?
Well, most of the equipment you see over there in the hands of the Taliban, that was all stuff that was provided to the Afghan National Army. So it's like, when we trained and equipped the Afghan National Army, we gave them M16A2 service rifles. We gave them MRAPs. We gave them Humvees. That was all U.S. made equipment, but it was given to them to use. It's like, we're not going to buy like Chinese and Russian, armored vehicles and rifles and shit to give to the Afghan National Army. We're going to give them American stuff. to use. So it's like you're seeing all this stuff on TV, and it's not like we per se left it there. It's the fact that we gave it to the Afghan National Army so that they can continue to fight the Taliban and maintain, security in their own country. And then, we leave, and then the Afghan National Army loses. And now
it wasn't as simple as just, chucking a grenade in there and blowing it up, because it was their equipment. It was their equipment.
It's not that there was thousands of U.S. troops there in Afghanistan and they just jumped out of their vehicles and jumped on planes and left. That's not what happened at all.
Yeah, man, that was such a bummer. Like I said, I'm 20 ways farther away from it than you are, and I'm still upset about it. And,
it's just I understand what the the Vietnam veterans and stuff went through. It's when the Vietnam veterans, when the Paris Peace Accords were signed, and the vast majority of U.S. troops came home, all that was left there were essentially a skeleton crew of advisors that were still there training the South Vietnamese army, and then you have U.S. Congress votes to cut off all funding to South Vietnam. Well, how the hell are they going to freaking continue to wage war or defend their country when they have no backing? When you have the North Vietnamese are being supplied by the Chinese and the freaking Soviets, and then what do you think is going to happen? 2 years after U.S. forces leave South Vietnam, they get overran. When the North tried to launch a major offensive in 73, and it's my understanding that the U.S. came in and intervened with, heavy bombers, B-52s, and airstrikes, and completely stopped that offensive. And then, look, 2 years later, they do it again. No U.S. bombers or air support or anything, and they just completely overran the country.
Yeah, who's I talking to? I was talking to some Navy guy. He used to be a gunner on like a battleship or something. And he goes, they could have just sat off the coast and bombed that whole area from off the coast on these battleships for days and like months, and just totally wiped them out from a distance. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I don't know how that works.
I mean, just
a lot of kids and women over there. You don't want to just randomly bomb them.
I mean, we have so much ass, right? We have air power, naval power. You can't win a war unless you have boots on the ground. But here, in these situations, you talk in, South Vietnam or the Afghan National Army, it's like, if you support those guys with air support, with, naval bombardment, stuff like that, they can hold their own, right? But the second you cut all that stuff away and they're not at that level yet where they can sustain themselves, they're not going to win any. They're not going to be able to maintain that security.
Man. It's a bummer. So I watched that first initial One Shepherd video of like, basic day one, and where you were, I don't know if you were involved in that one. You were just kind of filming that whole deal, but that was really interesting. And how many days is that for?
One shepherd semester is a whole week. So it's really 8 days, really. You come in Sunday night. Am I saying this right? I think it either starts on Sunday or it starts on Monday. I'm having a brain fart right now, but it's essentially a week long. The first 2 days are like the initial events. So if it's your very first semester, it's the Basic Warriors course. And that's, you just get the basic understanding, of, basic infantry stuff. Like, here's your weapon. This is a gear. These are the radios, how you use it, basic formations, hand and arm signals, react to enemy contact, fire team rushing, stuff like that, doing patrolling, going on a night, clandestine night link up. And then after you do that, you get your patch, your One Shepherd patch, because now you're part of the program. You're one of us. You're part of the club. And then the second thing is the STX, situational training exercise. Okay. And then there's a whole series of events and curriculum that, those work off, and they kind of rotate. Just picture a big reoccurring wheel. And you have stuff like ambushes. What is some other, there's all kinds of STX, situational training exercises that take place, and you go and And depending on what semester it is, you'll learn one of those or a few of those different things. Like patrol-based operations is one of them, for instance.
Yeah,
Right.
I really want to try it. I really want to
Yeah.
try it. I wished I had one that was more based on, like, since I live in a city, right? I live in a suburb. I wish I had one that was not so much like jungle warfare or just out in the bush, but more like, how to get organized, how to get your neighbors organized, how to take charge of a block, how to secure a block, something like that, because me, like, there's a million people like me that are preppers that don't have military service, that if the FUBAR happens or if the shit hits the fan, what do we do next? Right?
Yeah.
I bought some Baofeng radios, right? Do I know how to use them? Nope. They're charged. I bought 10 of them because I figured I'll probably need to pass them out to people. But, as far as getting something like that organized, that's what I really want to do. Because how do you get a city block secure? Something like that. Or how to clear rooms, room to room. I want to sign up for some of those classes. Room clearing.
Also, not that you're going to go to One Shepherd and learn how to secure a city block or anything like that, but you will learn stuff like, patrol-based operations or defensive operations or offensive operations like raids and stuff like that. Like, you learn how to build fighting positions, how to tie in your defense, how to conduct a raid. That's all part of the stuff that's the situational training exercises of that take place teach, right? And then after the situational training exercise, which again is like 2 days, you roll right into the field training exercise, which is the final culminating event at every One Shepherd semester.
Mhm.
And what you get is, it's called the measle, but it's essentially a scenario that's laid out, right? You have two sides. You have a blue 4 and an op 4 side. At One Shepherd, you're supposed to have two uniforms. You're supposed to have your OD uniform, and then you have a woodland camouflage uniform. And that's for the FTX, because if you're op 4, you're going to wear the solid OD. If you're blue 4, you're going to wear the woodland. And then those two sides are inserted for, it's set, they always say like 3-day FTX, but it's usually like a little over 48 hours, because you index, sometime late Sunday afternoon. But they'll give you these scenarios that kind of tie in with what you learned during the STX, right? It'll steer you towards utilizing those tactics that you learned during the STX during the FTX. It's not a guarantee that it's all going to unfold like that, but it's going to steer you into learning or doing those things that you learned that semester during the STX. So it all kind of ties in at the end. It's
I was feeling my wife out yesterday. I was like, so would you mind if I just went and hung out with a bunch of dudes for a week? She's like, Vegas? I go, no, not Vegas. But, like in the woods. She goes, what are you doing in the woods with a bunch of guys for a week? I'm like, look, what happens in the woods stays. No, I'm kidding. So, she thought it was a cool idea. She goes, I get to get ready for a week? Sweet. So I'm probably going to see if I can do it next year. I think it'd be a blast. I could make a lot of good content with it too.
You should, man. It's good. It's a good opportunity. It'll let you see where you stand in life, because, right, you can go out there. If you're one of these tactically minded individuals, you buy weapons and you buy gear and everything, and you have in your mind that, like, hey, if shit hits the fan, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. We'll go out there and put yourself to the test, see where you stand. It's not Navy SEAL training, but hey, they're going to throw you out in the woods for 3 days fighting against the living, breathing, thinking enemy, okay, that's trying to accomplish their respective mission, and you're trying to accomplish your respective mission. See how you stand up in the elements, man.
So my first reality check to that, Brent, was I played paintball with a bunch of 10-year-old kids and got murked. So that was a very humbling experience. Little rats.
So the thing, and I played paintball when I was like a teenager and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And like, a lot of kids and stuff, and adults for that matter, play airsoft, and that's all fun stuff. And I'm not putting that down whatsoever. But at One Shepherd, they use Miles gear. Now, Miles gear is the same type of system that's used by the U.S. military. In fact, it is the same system. It's just
it's like the laser tag stuff, right?
Yeah, it's an older model of the stuff that the military is using now.
Very cool.
This is the stuff that they were using. They used Miles 2000, so that shows it's what the U.S. military was using in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But it attaches to real weapons. So you wear a halo harness on your head, whatever your headgear is, you attach it to that, and then you have a chest harness that goes over your gear. You just attach it to the straps of your LBE, and then there's a box which is called a SAT, small arms emitter, that goes on the end of your barrel, and it keys off the firing of your weapon with a blank ammunition. And the lasers shoot 500 meters. And
Nice.
actually, they shoot further than 500 meters. It's just after 500 meters, I believe they start. It shoots out a grid essentially. Okay, and then after 500 meters, the laser starts factoring in like bullet drop and stuff like that. So you're getting like ballistics essentially. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is you can have real combat engagement ranges with the Miles gear, which you can't have with airsoft, right? You're not going to have an airsoft, two dudes engaging each other at 500 meters away from each other.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet, man. I'm about 80% there. I went to the surplus shop today, and the only thing I could find that was a good deal was a hat to fit my big fat ass head. That's about it. Because you were talking about all that, what do you call it? Gucci gear. And I just picked up like 4 sets of 511 boots. And I was like, damn, here I am walking around in your mindset. And I'm sorry if I'm not quoting you correctly. It's like, look, I buy the same shit they issued me in the military. It's gotten me there and back a couple times. It works fine. It's like $25.
Well, let me say that I didn't say Gucci gear. I think that was another guy. I say, me personally, I buy and use a lot of issued stuff, right? Because it works. But I buy new made stuff. For instance, like the Crossfire packs, new made packs. I've used Alice packs for years. They are reliable. They'll do exactly what I need. However, I've got this new Crossfire pack that, it's got a lot of great features on it. It's a very comfortable pack. It's a stellar pack, and it does offer more capability than my Alice pack. Not saying my Alice pack, there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just this new made Crossfire pack gives me a little bit more capability.
Nice.
All I was saying is, if you are a new guy to getting into, this type of stuff, shooting or going to like One Shepherd and patrolling, you probably should look at the surplus market first, right? Because you're going to get the better prices, generally speaking, with that stuff. You can get surplus Marine Corps issue jungle boots, same ones I've been using for freaking decades, and they're going to get you from point A to point B, no problem. I've been to war 3 times wearing freaking standard issue jungle boots, and they work just fine. I don't need $200-$300, freaking moon boots made by Oakley to go get that basic training.
Yeah, I was a trendsetter. My brother came back from Desert Storm. He was in Desert Storm. So when he came back, he left a bunch of his gear at the house, and I was like 14. So I was wearing his boots. They didn't even fit. I had to wear like 3 pairs of socks to wear them. But I thought I was the coolest kid in town. I had sand in it still. I was like, it's so cool. But okay, so so we'll get to Dakota Meyer in a minute, because that's a hot button. Do you feel that service members, combat vets, they look down on civilians training, like, Dakota Meyer when he went all ape shit a couple months ago, talking about how you guys are just playing Halloween, you don't deserve it, you guys don't need to be wearing kit out there practicing and all that stuff? Because I don't ever do that. But I was like, well, what if I wanted to? I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I don't feel that way. I mean, if you're a civilian, you never served in the U.S. military, like, I don't give a shit if you wear camouflage when you train, you go out and shoot and stuff. Why? I mean, it's warfighting equipment, right? If you're I don't know. I'm not going to say. I would never disparage a civilian that wanted to um, wear, camouflage utilities or anything like that to go out and shoot or anything like that. I mean, hell, I wore that shit too before I even went in the Marine Corps when I was a young man in high school. Going out and shooting with like my father or friends or whatever, and or playing paintball. We wore freaking woodland camis, BDUs to do all that stuff. So no, I don't think that way at all. Obviously, I instruct at the One Shepherd Institute. Probably 3/4 of the people that go there are civilians, right? And what are they doing? They're coming to One Shepherd to learn small unit tactics and essentially do infantry stuff, and they've never served. A lot of them have never served. So it's not, to me, it's not playing dress up or anything like that. Or
Now, stolen valor is a whole different story. If you're out there and you're trying to say like, "Oh, I could have been a SEAL," and you're talking all that big shit, then yeah, you're an asshole. But if you're out there and you just want to shoot and have a good time, and man, I want night vision stuff. I mean, I got my first ATN night scope. I'm like, that is now I want some like PVS 7s or whatever that stuff's called. Like, I want it all now. I'm like, man, I'm going to SHOT Show and I'm going to hump the leg of every single person on those booths trying to get all this cool free stuff to test out. Night vision, I'll take it all. I'll take it all. I want to try all that stuff. It looks so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I absolutely encourage civilians to get into tactically oriented training. Whether that's just going to a shooting range and working on marksmanship fundamentals, or going up to some sort of training program like One Shepherd where you're learning small unit tactics and leadership. Absolutely, 100% encourage civilians to do that, because I mean, let's face it, that's how America was founded, right?
Plus that video, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but individual citizens forming into militias to fight the good fight. I mean, that's how our country was founded. So I feel every good-hearted American should know, tactics. Not everybody can serve in the U.S. military. That's a fallacy. That everybody can serve or should serve, for that matter. I mean, it's not for everybody. It absolutely isn't for everybody. And I'm not a proponent of the draft. Because I don't think it brings in quality people. I want the best people, right? When you start a company,
100%.
Yeah, when you start a company, you want to hire quality people, because those quality people are going to make your company successful, right? Or at least put you on the pathway to become successful. Well, it's the same in military. If I'm going into combat where my life is on the line, I want motherfuckers that are dedicated 100%, that are going to train and give it all they have. Some guy that got, a draft card and doesn't even want to be there. He's just trying to keep himself from going to prison or whatever.
Exactly. I was going to bring that up. I know a few people that went into the Marines where the judge was like, this or prison, enlist or go to prison. And that's how my dad joined the Army, actually. Oh, I don't know if I should let that out, but anyway, that's how he joined the Army. And they sent him to Germany for a couple years. He was over there hanging out with Elvis.
Yeah. And I don't want to underscore, like, there's a lot of people like your old man that were in that situation and they served honorably. I'm not saying
he's in the motor pool.
Well, come on.
What could he have done? He's just hanging out, drinking.
I
saw stripes. I saw stripes. I know what they do.
It's one team, one fight. Like, I don't rib anybody that served in the U.S. military, because let's face it, man, without admin clerks in the military, like, you don't get paid. Without freaking sailors, how the hell are Marines supposed to get to the fight? We load up on ships and they freaking take us across the world to land on foreign beaches. So I don't undercut anybody's service. It's all, as long as it's honorable. I've met some shitbags through my long career in the Marine Corps, and as long as you serve honorably, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, there's bad people in every bunch. I mean, that's just how it goes. Oh, look at that. We got D. Wayne in the chat. It's one of the original. He was one of my original followers last year. In 3 days, it'll be my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. Ed Bartholomew says, I'm an old Vietnam vet. Thank you, Ed, for your service. Those guys, when they came back, you're just looking at movies. they really, no one gave a shit about those guys coming back. I mean, they really got, spit on, and people just shit on those guys. It was so bad. I mean, the vets these days at least have a following and people want to help them out. I think it was like a different time though. It was kind of messed up.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, the reason guys like me who had such an amazing reception when we came home is because of those Vietnam veterans. The shit they went through when they came home, they didn't want to see that happen to the next generation of American warfighters. And it's because of them that guys like me came home to welcoming parades and open arms and everything else. And it's because of them that, civilians are constantly, every time they see servicemen, are saying thank you for your service and so on and so forth. 100%. Every time I meet a Vietnam veteran, I mentioned that, thank you. I know you didn't get the reception I got when I came home from Iraq and Afghanistan. And what pisses me off the most, I've seen in recent years some videos or articles that try to undercut and underscore saying that Vietnam veterans weren't treated bad when they got home. I have not met a single Vietnam vet personally that has said that. They've all said that when they got back, they were treated like garbage. They were spit on. They were called baby killer and everything. Yeah. Every single one of them that I've ever met in person has said that to me. So,
yeah, there's tons of old video out there getting. There's a real popular, well, not a popular one. There's one that goes, this guy's coming off a plane in the airport, and this lady goes up and spits on him and calls him baby killer and all that. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's ridiculous.
Horrible. All right, guys, I'm going to put Brent's link. Man, you got to check out his channel. It's thought-provoking, a little corny when you talk about fleshlights and all that stuff. But, for the most part, it's quality, thought-provoking material. I mean, they were talking about some interesting robots yesterday. But other than that, it's quality entertainment. Because you do have some characters on there. Now, how did you hook up with Doc and Bruce and those guys?
So each one of them has a story. Now, Chris Larson, who's the Doc, he's the actual founder of One Shepherd. So I met him once I got down to One Shepherd for the very first time.
Sharp guy.
What's that?
He's very sharp. I like him.
Oh, yeah. Very knowledgeable, very intelligent. And the whole sex robot conversation was his idea. I just want to throw that on the table and he'll own up to that. So, but yeah, he's a very, very intelligent guy. He's written many books on small unit tactics. What is it called? For the life of me, I can't think of the name of his bestseller one that he's got, but he's written numerous books on just infantry tactics in general. And he still works for the federal government.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he's written actual publications for the U.S. military. That's just a really sharp guy. And then nice. Some of the other guys, Les was actually a YouTube viewer of mine. And I had years ago, I did this contest where I was going to give away a free primary arms scope. And the contest was I laid out this mission. Right. It was like you were going to be inserted for 3 days in this, certain type of environment. You were going to be given certain types of gear, i.e. like a Claymore bag, a couple fragmentation grenades, and, it's like 7 magazines. And I think it was like a bandolier of machine gun ammo, 7.62 by 51 link, and a couple pop-ups, stuff like that. And I was like, show me all the gear that you would take on this, this patrol. And then show me where all this stuff would fit inside your ruck. And so people would submit, this is how you got into became an entry. People would actually do the inspection video, show me their gear, and then they would send that to me. And then I would watch it and I would inspect their video based off like their gear that they had out. So Les was one of the guys that did it. And he actually got, I think it was like 3rd or 4th place or so. But he lives in Virginia. So when I was selected for first sergeant, I went to a first sergeant's course in Quantico and ended up, just hitting him up because he and I continuously talked. I was like, hey, man, you want to meet up for dinner or something? I'm like, I'm here down in Quantico right now. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we went and linked up and I was like, hey, man, you really got to come out to this one shepherd program I've been doing for the last couple of years. Like, it's really fantastic. I think you'd really like it. And he's like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. So he does it. And then now he's hooked, and now he's a black hat instructor there with me.
Nice.
So Bruce,
I like him. He's probably the most down to earth.
Oh yeah.
Dude on that panel.
That dude will give you the shirt off his back. He is a unbelievably generous and just a good all around guy. Chad. Chad that's been in the panel a couple times. He's on the Red Dawn one.
I've seen him.
Chad and I served together in one of the infantry battalions that I was in, that we went to Afghanistan together. Bruce was Chad's friend. So when I met Chad and I would train outside of the Marine Corps. We'd go shoot and stuff. Bruce came one time, and I met Bruce that way. So everybody's kind of like interconnected, if you can see that.
Nice. You know what's funny? I've met some service members, and I don't want to say all service members, but I've met some service members that can really shoot well. And I've met some that I'm like, you did have a rifle in the military, right? Because I'm like, come on. Like, they can't shoot worth a junk. So it's such a weird dynamic. I mean, I was like, you did serve, right? Like, yeah, of course. Like, sure. Like, you had this. I'm like, man. So it's funny. I see a lot of these guys out shooting and practicing. It's awesome. I love it. Let's see, Gunmetal says sex robots. What did I log into? Don't worry, Gunmetal. It's cool. It's all safe. It's a safe space here. Ed says it's hard to watch some of that. Yeah, I know it must be pretty tough. Because John Doe says he watched a Vietnam documentary from Ken Burns. Yeah, it's hard to watch that stuff. Like, even the movies like Black Hawk Down, I can't watch that stuff. It messes with me. And
see, I enjoy watching documentaries and movies about like World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, essentially every war but my own war. And it's not that it's like a PTSD thing or anything along those lines. I don't really know what it is. I just don't really have an interest in watching like Generation Kill, for instance. I still haven't seen that. I've seen clips on YouTube.
I watched the first couple episodes. Meh.
Yeah. And I even have some buddies of mine that was like, man, you got to watch it. It's great and everything. I haven't had any. Maybe it's because I lived it. Generation Kill was actually based on the reconnaissance element that was right in front of my battalion. Bravo 14. Bravo company was my rifle company, but our battalion 14, that recon unit in that show is leading the way in front of our battalion there. And I don't know what it is. I just have no interest in GWAT stuff. But I'll watch the crap out of Vietnam, Korea, World War II all the time.
Yeah, like, those. Yeah. I mean, you're on the History Channel. It's always World War II stuff, World War I. And I get stuck on it too. I just kind of want to see, how they did it. It's curious. So let's see. We already did civilians in training. What do you think about here? That's a question I got. How do you feel about women on the front line?
It depends on what they're
situations.
doing. It depends on what they're doing. I do not support women infantry or combat arms for that matter. Infantry in particular is a very, very physical and emotional tasking job. And just my experience, I've served essentially my whole career in an infantry unit, coming up from, being a young infantryman all the way into becoming a staff NCO. I've to this day, I'm still in an infantry unit. And I just don't think it's a good idea to have females mixed in with that. It's a major distraction for young men straight out of high school going in. And then, anybody that is honest with themselves knows that there's a very real physical difference between men and women. I mean, it's not even comparable. Yes, there are a very few exceptions where you have women that may be stronger than your average man, but overwhelmingly, the average man is going to be significantly stronger than a female.
Yeah.
And we're talking about women that may have to pull a 200-pound man with gear on, all right, out of enemy fire to relative security so that he could be worked on. It's just,
Right.
it's ridiculous.
And I was telling it to a girl, you know, she was trying to argue with me like a couple months ago about this situation. I go, well, it's different because if JoJo goes down, everyone will stay in the fight. But if Mary goes down, all these guys are going to try and kill themselves to get her, no matter what. I think that would just be a big distraction too, because it's in your nature to want to protect her.
There's 100% accurate. There's no question. It is male nature that we want to protect women, and people can deny that all they want. It's 100% accurate. When I deployed in Afghanistan in 2010, there was a female EOD tech that was attached to us for some of the missions.
EOD?
The explosive ordnance disposal.
Oh, wow.
Like we located an IED or something, like they go and they defuse the bombs and stuff like that.
What a horrible job.
Yeah, I know, right? It takes a special kind of person.
Yikes.
But anyways, this female EOD tech was attached to my unit. I saw the, the effect that it had on my Marines. I mean, they're all talking about her. She wasn't I'm not saying she was attractive, but she wasn't ugly, and when you're in Afghanistan, on the other side of the freaking planet, and there's not very many women around, what do you think those young men are talking about, right? So I saw the effects it was having on my Marines. So you better believe that if, God forbid, something were to happen to her, it would have been a huge distraction. And guys probably wouldn't be following, set SOPs in dealing with that situation, because everything probably would have came to a stop just to extract her. Now, that's just one aspect of this, right? That's just one aspect. There's the physical component. The standards are not the same. There's two different PFT standards. It's always been that way. It always will be that way. Why? Because females cannot pass the male PFT. And if they do take a male PFT, they're going to be barely passing. They're going to be meeting the minimum standards. And that's like a really good in shape female athlete, and it kind of ties into like the trans stuff that you're seeing. These men that are self-identifying as women and crushing female records. It's ridiculous, right? But it just goes to show you, though, that there's a huge biological difference.
Yeah, like that the swimmer right now.
Yes,
that's crushing exactly all the records.
That's exactly what I'm referring to.
It's a dude,
right?
A dude.
Right. So,
but I have transgender people around me all the time, and look, man, do you do you, and I do me, and it's okay. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. But if like my daughter, she's actually going to college. She's going to go in the Army. She has one more year of college, and she I think she already signed up. She's already enlisted. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. And so she's signing her life away already. And she's like a triathlete. She's super fit. She does all this stuff, and even she couldn't do the body drag.
Yeah,
it's just too heavy, and she's like a super athlete.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. She's an unbelievably awesome female athlete, right?
Yeah, it doesn't compare. I don't know.
When compared to other women, she's a phenomenal athlete, and
100%.
She deserves the recognition for being that phenomenal athlete. But when you compare her to male athletes, it's a completely different story. And it's just it's really sad that people try to live in this pretend world and just disregard all these nature things just to appease some sort of social agenda. And that's what happened in the U.S. military. When I was a young Marine, I would have never in a million years guessed that there would ever be female infantrymen. I just couldn't believe it. When I was in the invasion, and I was in an L-shaped machine gun fighting position. So picture an L, right? All right. It's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
everything's reversed here. I hope you guys bear with me, right? So you have your like machine gun platform that your machine gun's sitting on. And then to the right, actually it'd be more like this. In this little leg here, you'd have like your team leader, assistant gunner, and he's the one that's, feeding the ammunition for the machine gun. During the invasion, I'm sitting in this L-shaped fighting position, taking a shit right here with my gunner on the machine gun. There is no accommodations for women shitters in the field in the middle of combat.
Right.
Okay? There is no tampon or hygienic stuff. Like literally, I could tell you, we would get online. Like there'd be 6 dudes dropping trow and taking a shit right there in front of, the platoon, because that's what you had to do. Is combat, right? There's no privacy. It's just it's a male warfighter environment, and it's just for the life of me, why they made this decision to force this. Nobody asked for this, and the Marine Corps was the one branch of the service that really adamantly fought against this. The Marine Corps conducted studies, multiple studies, that showed that they did an all-female infantry platoon, an integrated male and female infantry platoon, and then a standard all-male infantry platoon. Guess what happened? It doesn't take a rocket scientist.
Right.
The all-male infantry platoon outperformed overwhelmingly against both the integrated and all-female platoons. Is anybody shocked by that? This is war. Like this is war. It's life or death. It's not a fucking social experiment. So,
well, I did read. You probably heard this too. So where was that? I read a few weeks ago too. There was like the greatest threat to the U.S. military is climate change, and I was like, climate change? What are they talking about? Climate change? Did you hear anything about that?
I remember. Sorry, I was reading some of these comments off to the side, but yeah, I remember that several years ago that came up. A bunch of nonsense.
Oh, that came up again pretty recently.
I'm reading one of these comments. There's some things that women can physically do better than a man. Oh, cannot physically do. Yeah. And on that same point, there's, a lot of women are smarter than men, right? There's no physical.
They can make people, as Joe Rogan says, they can make a people. They can.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me. That's like magic.
But let's look at this, something that doesn't require that physical demand, right? Fighter pilot. There are some very smart women in this world, right? Very smart, capable women. They can absolutely fly an FA-18 freaking Super Hornet and drop a 500-pound guided bomb on an enemy position. They can absolutely do that. You don't have the same physical rigors in an F-18 as you do being an infantryman on the ground, right? They can fly helicopters. They can do all kinds of jobs, some of which are combat related, like pilot. They don't need to be in the infantry. They can still fight the war doing these other jobs.
Since I got into guns, I don't know if you've seen it too, Brent. When you take a female shooting, a lot of the times right off the bat, she has better hand-eye coordination. I know a lot of girls that are better shots off the bat than men. I'm like, wow, it blows you away. Like they just are better shots. My wife hardly ever shoots, and she shoots just as good as me. Says a lot about me.
I can see that. All right. I can see that. Yeah, they can be steadier and might have a better shot. But here's the thing. Combat is not just, going to the range and, on your square range and having that perfect shot. You're wearing 100 pounds of fighting load, body armor, extra magazines, water, combat load. You're moving. God forbid somebody gets hit. You have the firemen's carry 200, 300 pounds of dead weight out of harm's way. Fire team rushing, marching, force marches, 20 miles, enduring that physical toughness. It's not all just shooting. Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody probably typing, oh, the Russians in World War II had snipers. Okay, yeah, sniping is a very specific thing, right? If there is something a female can probably do on a battlefield, it might be sniping. But I'm almost assuredly the female snipers weren't that the Russians were using weren't the ones that they were sending freaking 30 miles behind enemy lines in a team of two, with large rucksacks to carry out those freaking Carlos Hathcock kill a freaking, NVA general in his own camp type missions.
Right.
So
Best female movie sniper of all time was in Full Metal Jacket, by the way. Remember that Viet Cong?
yeah,
She was
Yeah.
pretty all right. And then as far as World War II snipers, Enemy at the Gates, one of the best movies. That's a great flick. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
I love that flick. So Felicia's in the chat. Felicia's a good friend of mine up by your neck of the woods in Dallas. She is a phenomenal shot. Phenomenal shot. I've had the opportunity to meet her, and I didn't want to shoot next to her. She was making me look too bad. I had to edit her out of the video almost all the way. Will says his wife shoots well. Yeah. But that one shepherd, I wish they would have something more of like, like I had mentioned before, something more geared towards suburban. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, the reality is there's probably training organizations out there that do what you're looking for. I know S&S Training Solutions. They kind of go hand in hand with One Shepherd. They are separate entities, but they do have some cross pollination. They offer like an urban type gunfighter training setting, and they do miles. They use the miles system as well.
Well, the great thing about One Shepherd to me is very attainable because if you look at their price for that week, it's not bad at all.
Oh yeah, we do.
It's ridiculous. I hope they don't ever just realize that one day. Like, we should probably charge 4 times as much.
So here's the funny thing about this, right? So in a semester at One Shepherd, and I'm being overly simplistic here, but a semester at One Shepherd is like $700. Okay, seven days of training. 7 days of training. So I've literally had guys say, "Oh, I'm gonna spend $700 and buy me another gun or more ammo." I've seen those comments, right? Because of like, I don't want to spend $700, dude. It's 7 days of training. Find a hotel. Hotels usually cost $100 for a day. You're getting bananas. Training instruction. You're getting your ammo, and you're getting your food, all covered under that $100 for the day, and that's covering your lodging. You're staying there at the One Shepherd Leadership Institute the whole week. Like, how is that not a reasonable price? Like, it blows my mind.
It is so cheap because, like, I've only taken 2 pistol classes. That's it. That's the extent of my training. Like I said, I'm from LA. I grew up in the city. I never hunted growing up. I went fishing twice. I moved to Texas, and I just got hooked on guns, and now I'm a fanatic. But as far as training, 2 pistol classes. And my first pistol class was about $350. And the next one was around 300 and changed also, plus all the ammo I had to bring too. So $700 for a week is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm not mentioning is you don't have to do the whole week. You should, because you're not. Let me preface this by saying you're not going to want to leave after the initial training events or the STX. You're going to want to stay the whole time, like 100%. Every student I've ran into that has only gone to like the basic warriors course and then like went home after that, they regretted not buying the whole week because you're gonna be so into it by the time you get done with like the basic warriors course that you're just gonna be like kicking yourself for not staying longer. So yeah, if you're gonna do it, you got to do the whole week. I'm telling you, if you just go for the basic warriors course or if you just go for the basic warriors course and the STX, you're just going to be hating life and hating yourself for not doing the whole deal.
If you're going to make the effort to go, you might as well just do it.
So, but yeah, that pistol class you're talking about, yeah, that you paid like $300 for what was it, 2 days you said?
No, it was one day.
So one day, $350 for 1 day of training, and then you still had to buy your ammo on top of all that.
Yeah.
So
And
this is
it did work. I was a little bit better shot.
right. Well, yeah, of course. Any training you go to is going to be better than no training. But yeah, there's nothing that can compare. Now, why is One Shepherd so cheap? Well, like I said, it's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit organization. Instructors like me are not getting paid. We are all volunteers. We believe in the program. We believe what they're doing there.
Man, that's awesome.
I enjoy teaching. Excuse me. I enjoy teaching young people. I mean, when I say young, I'm using that term loosely because it's, you could have a 14-year-old all the way up to a 60-year-old there. I enjoy teaching young Americans, young patriotic Americans, the art of small unit leadership and tactics. It's just, I believe that Americans need to be doing this stuff. I grew up
100%.
watching Red Dawn, and by God, I thought the Soviets were going to invade, and thought I was going to have to be taken out into the woods or up into the mountains and waging guerrilla warfare. It never happened, but it could happen still by somebody.
You never know. You never know. If you had told me we would be wearing masks and having a national pandemic for a solid year 2 years ago, I'd have thought you were a nut job.
Yeah, I know, right?
And now it's normal. It's just what we're going to live with forever.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So what's next for you? I mean, so I saw on your YouTube channel, I think you went to the Primary Arms Range Day.
Yeah.
How'd you like that? Was that fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I've never been to anything like that before. They sent me an email. They're like, "Hey, are you interested in coming down for this?" And it was a hike. It's down in Houston, and I can't remember how many hours it was. Maybe 5.
Yeah, for you, it's probably about 5.
Yeah. So I told my buddy, I was like, "Hey, man, you want to do this?" I was like, we'll split gas prices and drive down there and shoot a bunch of guns and everything." And we got there. It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. All these vendors had like full autos and their, latest and greatest stuff. And it was just like, yeah, come shoot our fully automatic new AR, style rifle. And here, we'll even give you the ammo to do it. So I'd never done anything like that before. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Iraq Veteran 8888 does a similar thing up in Georgia where it's a little bit bigger than the Primary Arms one, but it's 2 days, and you just shoot nonstop for 2 days, and you get so tired of shooting full auto guns. You're like, oh, I don't want to shoot free full auto ammo guns. Oh, you start getting nitpicky with it, like, oh, yeah, I just don't want to do that. A bar? No, I did that yesterday. It's like, it's so much fun, especially when you're not paying for it. That's even a bigger plus.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So are you gonna? So your channel? I mean, you have a massive following that's grown over the years. I mean, how much more do you want to take it? Do you want to start doing like gun reviews and I know you're doing a lot of gear reviews.
I mean, not so much. I do gear, and I have done some firearm reviews and optic reviews in the past. It's not really my thing. I have done some of that, and here's the thing about my channel, guys. Like, I'm like the worst YouTuber in the world. Like, this is nothing more than a hobby for me. I don't go out there and solicit my channel. I don't, and I don't want to. I'm not disparaging these guys whatsoever. Like the guys that have like the Patreon accounts and stuff like that. I don't have a Patreon account. It's not that I have anything against it. YouTube has became very anti-gun. So
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, it's very frustrating when you put a lot of hard work and effort into a video and YouTube demonetizes it because let's be honest, those ads. What's that?
You've had some of those get demonetized?
Oh yeah, all the time. And let me just say that a lot of the videos that I've had demonetized absolutely 100% do not even meet the demonetized criteria. It's just some asshole in San Francisco where they have that YouTube headquarters sees my video and they're just like, yeah, I don't like this, and they demonetize it. It doesn't meet their requirements whatsoever for the monetization.
So I just did a last minute 10 gifts for Christmas video.
Yeah.
They demonetized it halfway through the upload. It turned yellow. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no music.
Yeah.
Everything was great. So, they killed the video so it doesn't get any views. Because I don't care if it's monetized or not, but when it's demonetized, they don't push it out. That's the problem.
Right. Yes,
so
100%.
They didn't push it out, and then just an hour before we went live, they marked it green. I'm like, well, of course it was green.
Not only do they not push it out, but it does not earn even remotely close to the amount of revenue, right? For that video. Now, I've had videos that I've worked countless hours on editing. Editing is the worst. I don't know how in depth you've gone with your videos, but like editing takes forever.
Yeah.
And when you spend hours working on these videos, you might get frustrated when ads pop up on YouTube videos, but like that's how content creators make money, right? And you're not into YouTube for the money, right? If you are, it's not a very good money or not a very good model because you're not making that much off, but you get something, right? You get something, and it's nice to get something in return for your hard work.
Right.
So when you put a lot of hard work into these videos and they get demonetized, it's very frustrating, especially when they don't meet the criteria.
Yeah, like I did, gun reviews. I'll take whatever gun I get and right out of the box, no cleaning, I'll run 500 rounds through it.
Yeah.
I've done a couple 10 millimeters like that, and I've done a couple 45s recently like that, and that is pricey. And I tell this story all the time, but my wife bought some like mascara or some eyeliner for like $200. I was like, $200? What are you doing? She goes, how much you spent on ammo this month? I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
You go buy two. Go buy two. So I spent a fortune. I was figuring out with my buddy Mike today how much we spent on ammo just this year. And I think he's at about 17,000. And I'm well over 10 grand in ammo, which is bananas to say that out loud. And YouTube, I've made about 8,000 on YouTube. So, it's an offset. I have a good time though. It's fun for me. I have a full-time job. This for me is just shits and giggles.
Yep, same here, bud.
Plus, I like to meet real cool people like Felicia. She's cool. Felicia, I just got more Smash Time stickers, and I'm sending out your sticky holster today. Well, tomorrow today. Let's see. Diesel's in the chat. What's up? So I'm going to put your link one more time. If anybody's not a subscriber to Brent's channel, please subscribe. It's really, really good. So how did you get the idea to put all these minds together on these panels?
Before I get to that, I just want to say I've seen a couple of comments, people that said they subscribed to me in the comments. So, hey, I appreciate you, those of you that are doing that. Thanks a lot. So the panel, again, I started doing the live streams after Afghanistan. The Afghanistan stuff started coming and unfolding. I found it very therapeutic to talk to like minds, streaming like that. Yeah, I'm not a guy that goes to a therapist or anything, but I can tell you with 100% certainty that, doing the live streams, talking to those individuals was very therapeutic, particularly during that particular time in my life. So,
yeah. Have you ever seen that documentary, Quiet Explosions?
No.
About, brain damage, traumatic brain damage from military and just sports in general?
No, I can't say that I have, no.
Oh, man, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I met the guy that did the movie, Andrew, and he was telling me, like, when he got back from service, he was a mess. And then when my brother got back, I had to call him. I called him every day for about 2 years. Because he got back, and when he was in Iraq, he was the man. Everyone listened to him when he got back. He just got back. They let him right out the door, and he's just a nobody. So he went from being a somebody to a nobody like that. He was having a really hard time with it. And he was kind of a jerk. But, he's my brother. I love him. So I would call him every day and check up on him. Just say, hey, man, how you doing? And I think, how many people don't have brothers that call and check on them every day? That sucks, man. That must be a hard transition. And so did you have any of that now, or since you're in reserves, you still get kind of a taste of it, all the time?
That's essentially why I went into the reserves. Now, when I left active duty, I essentially had a choice. I'd already deployed twice to Iraq, and my battalion, 1-4, was getting ready to go on another deployment, but not to Iraq. They were going to do what's called a Westpac. So it was a non-combat deployment. They'd still be on the waters as part of a Marine Expeditionary Force, that could respond anywhere in the area within like 48 hours, but it was not going to be like a combat tour to Iraq. So I didn't have that like guilt that they were going to deploy back to Iraq and I wasn't going to be going with them if I got out. So I made the decision. I had just met my now wife, and she's smoking hot, man. It's just a great personality. And it was like, I knew she was going to be the best that I could ever pull. Right. So, and I knew if I went on deployment, I just met this lady, right? I don't know if she's going to be there for me. I'd like to think that she would have been, but who knows? I just met her though. And it's like, hey, I know we've only known each other a couple of weeks, but here's the deal. I got to deploy for 6 months. So I didn't really want to take that risk. So I made the conscious decision to leave the Marine Corps on active duty. And then, I talked to my then girlfriend, who's now my wife. I said, hey, we could stay here in California, but I was like, here's the deal. I'm a machine gunner. Like, that's my skill set. There ain't too many jobs that translate for machine gunners in the civilian side of the house. I was like, my best bet is, move back to Texas. And we live in Texas.
Great decision.
Cost of living is much cheaper there. And this is like 2006.
Is she born and raised in California?
No.
Oh,
no.
Thank God. Thank God.
No, she's actually from North Dakota originally. But she went to California for college and ended up staying there. But I told her, I was like, hey, if we move to Texas, I have a better opportunity in Texas than I would here in California to get, established and, start a life. And without even any talk of marriage or anything like that, she said she would move to Texas with me. So once she said that, she made that commitment. Wow. I threw a ring on that finger, man. So, but once I got to Texas and everything, was going, the plan is working. I was putting together a shadow box and I'm putting all my Iraq war stuff in there. And I'm looking at it, I was like, man, if there was just only some way I could still stay part of the Marine Corps. And I shit you not, at that very moment, I got a phone call from a prior service recruiter. And he's like, I was a sergeant at the time. He's like, hey, sergeant. He's like, I bet you're missing that camaraderie. And I was like, it was a gunnery sergeant at the time on the phone as a recruiter. And I'm like, yes, Gunny, I am. He's like, how soon can I get you in here to talk to you? I was like, I'll be there tomorrow.
Man.
I went down and met him. And then it was like a few days later, he drove me down to Bravo 123, which is an infantry rifle company in Bossier City, Louisiana. And I got there and I saw them and met the company and everything. And it was like, yep, I can do this. And I joined that. And then the rest is history.
So what did your new wife think of this sudden career change?
She was very supportive.
Surprise. I'm back in.
I'm back in. So the reserves, I like the reserves. It's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You get that freedom and latitude that the civilian life offers you. And you're still connected to the military, right? You still get the benefits, the TRICARE Reserve Select Insurance, health insurance. Oh man, that's just an amazing insurance program for currently serving reservists. Nice. So, and I never thought I was going to get the opportunity to go to Afghanistan, and lo and behold, 2010 rolls around, and here I got mobilized and went to Afghanistan as a staff sergeant, and I got to be a platoon sergeant there. Lead a infantry rifle platoon in combat operations in Afghanistan. I mean, it was just a phenomenal opportunity.
Wow. That's a very supportive wife, because she wasn't signing up for that.
No.
Then it's like, don't worry, it's just the reserves. I probably won't go. And then it's like, well, I'll be back in a little bit. Surprise again.
Yeah.
No, man. Well, hey, I don't want to hold you up the whole night. I really appreciate you coming on. Everyone in the chat, if you're not a subscriber of mine, please push the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Brent, I'm going to put your link back in here. If you're not a subscriber of Brent's channel, check it out because his panels have a wide variety of personalities on it, and it's pretty interesting stuff. I can't wait for the next one. I mean, last night's talk got a little crazy, but
So
I dig it.
Every once in a while, and last night was an example that Monday rolls around, and I'm like, hey, who's down for a live stream tonight? Because we do it every Monday at 18:30 Central. And all the guys are like, yeah, I'm good. And then I'm like, okay, what do you guys think we should talk about? And it was like crickets, right? So every once in a while, it's like we don't have a topic, and we just got to pull something out of our ass. And so I pulled out the whole gear, new made versus surplus gear conversation.
That's a pretty interesting topic, actually.
Yeah, but I didn't know if that would go the whole night, so I was like, we try to do at least 2 hours. And then Doc was like, well, let's go back to sex robots because we've hit on that a couple times. I'm like, all right, Doc, whatever you say, buddy, we'll do it.
I know DARPA was brought up briefly, but if you've seen those robots they're cranking out, man, another 10 years, I don't know if the infantryman is going to even be around. They got some crazy robots now that open doors. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's scary stuff.
I remember as a young Marine, man, another Marine telling me that we would never be engaged in a major ground battle ever again. And next thing you know, we're invading Iraq.
Right.
So,
Nice. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys, everyone, for stopping by and watching. Please subscribe to Brent's channel. It's phenomenal. You will not regret it. You never know where that conversation is going to take you.
Yeah, let me just say, the live streams ain't the only thing we do. We do a lot of historical stuff, whether that's like World War II, Korea, Vietnam. We try to do some gear videos in relation to that. I put out the Infantryman's Guide stuff. So if you're into small unit tactics and leadership and stuff like that, you can check that out. And then, like Smash and I have been talking about the whole night, the One Shepherd Leadership Institute. I am a black hat instructor there. Again, volunteer. All the instructors cadre are there, are volunteers, and come up there and train with us. All right.
No BS. I really want to do it.
I hope to see you there, bud.
It's because you had mentioned something earlier. It's like, it'll test what you're made of. And that's like, when's the last time you got hit in the face? Can you take a punch? It's kind of like that mentality. It's like, can you still? I haven't got hit in the face in a long time. I don't know if I could do it anymore. You lose that edge. Plus, I'm 100 pounds overweight. I'm way out of shape. I mean, I'm training to go to SHOT Show because there's a lot of walking. How sad is that? I might have to walk 12 miles a day. Like, so now I'm walking around the neighborhood with the backpack on.
Well, here's the thing, man. One Shepherd will let you see where you're at, right? It'll let you see where you stack up. Now, again, this ain't like high speed Navy SEAL training or anything like that. But it will test you mentally and physically. So it will give you a nice indicator of where you're at personally with yourself. You don't have to worry about people laughing at you. Nobody's laughing at you, right? Nobody's judging anybody. It's just training, and it will give you a nice judgment for yourself that you can take home with you to know where you currently sit in terms of preparedness and knowledge and physical conditioning.
Man, I'm excited. I really want to do it. Plus Texas is too dang hot. If I can get out of here for a week in the summer, I'm out.
January 8th when the registration for the upcoming year opens.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to check it out. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone in chat, thank you guys so much for watching.